Hey, what's up, guys? Thanks for coming back to the channel. Today, we have a great interview lined up with an architect client of ours who's also a real estate investor. And we're going to go over the process of how he used the funding in his real estate investments and how he actually funded a deal with the credit that he got from us. So I'm going to go ahead and bring him on. John, how you doing today?
Good, good. How are you, Mike?
I'm doing good. So thank you so much for taking time to join me today. Just want to do a quick interview with you and go over the process that you went through working with Fund and Grow, so you can kind of share your experience with people and let them know, that it worked for you and kind of how you use it in your business. I know you were just telling me that you're an architect for about 15 years. You were doing, I think you said you were doing skyscrapers in New York. And what'd you say, like 3 years ago? Matter of fact, let me just give you the reins. You give everybody a background, tell them about your experience with architecture, real estate, and then we'll just jump right into it.
Sure. So, I've been practicing architecture for about 15 years. Let's see, I started in New York City doing skyscrapers with a very large commercial architecture office. Did a lot of traveling, and when my oldest was 4, we just decided, my wife and I decided to relocate from New York City back to Jacksonville, which is where I'm from. And so I've been back in Jacksonville for I guess about 7 years now, and I'm still doing architecture. About 3 years ago, my wife and I came across Clayton Morris and started listening to a lot of the Clayton Morris YouTube videos and podcasts, and that got us interested in real estate. So we ended up buying our first property about 3 years ago in Jacksonville. Bought the property with a little bit of money that we had saved, using that money as a down payment, and we financed the property. Um, After that, we bought two more properties, and the last one that we bought was actually financed through a fund and grow strategy, in which we basically used fund and grow to get credit, and we used a combination of credit and cash that we'd saved up to actually close on the property. And we used credit from fund and grow to essentially pay the contractor, buy the materials, and essentially do everything we needed to do to flip the property. And the good thing about that deal was that we were able to essentially get out of the property in enough time to be able to avoid or beat the expiration date on the 0% interest that we had received from the credit cards. So long and the short of it was that we had a good experience with Fund and Grow, and we're actually in line to get a second round of funding here within the next month to repeat the cycle. So
Nice. And you mentioned that you used the credit to fund like was it like half the deal? You said you sent the wire, and
yeah,
kind of tell everybody how that process went with sending the wire and how much did that cost you? And I think you used plastic, right?
we use plastic. Yeah, we use plastic to basically convert the credit to cash, and we ended up using a HELOC on our existing property to buy as much of the property as we could. So the property, I think, was 35 grand. We used the HELOC, which gave us about 25 grand, and then we used 10 grand left over from the credit cards to basically close on the property. We used plastic, like as you mentioned, to basically convert the credit to cash. Um,
So did you send a
and
wire to the title company?
we sent a wire to the title company. I'm
Okay.
not sure what the fee was. I think the fee was like 35 bucks.
Yeah, it's
Um,
2.5% of whatever you're sending.
2.5.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was an easy process. I mean, I just remember that we had set up an account with Plastic, and basically they took care of everything.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really easy. Some people are like, how does this work? But it's really such a simple process to set up the account with plastic, add
Yeah,
the title company as the pay to
yeah,
vendor, and you just send the wire. They charge your credit card, they charge you 2.5%, and then they send the cash wire to any place of business. But in this case, with real estate investors, title companies. But
yeah,
people are doing
yeah,
it with all different types of businesses, not only just for buying real estate cash, but anything, inventory, anything that you need to basically send a wire versus just being able to pay with a credit card. Plastic allows you to basically use those credit cards as cash, which is
yeah,
huge because they come with zero interest. And well, you got zero interest, right, on all the cards, right?
Yeah, we had, I think I had four cards on I had zero interest for, I think the most was 12 months.
Nice.
And the fewest was probably 9 cycles. So,
Yeah,
so yeah,
yeah, they
it worked out
vary.
really good for us.
Ooh. Yeah, some of them are 12, some of them are 15, and then some of them are 9 months as well.
Yeah,
It just depends on the bank. And then with some of them, none of them have annual fees though. Everything that we go after is all zero interest with no annual fee. But then you'll get some of them that'll have rewards points, and I'm
yeah,
sure some of the ones that you have are rewards cards. So like,
yes,
yeah, cool.
yeah. That's
So
what that was one of the good things about my credit cards is that I was putting so much money on these credit cards. I was killing the rewards points, and I was able to take vacations courtesy of these credit cards. So, in
yeah,
fact, my second round of funding, I basically have requested cards that carry travel points and reward points because I use them.
yeah, it makes so much sense. On the last interview I did, the guy is running a multi-million dollar wholesaling company where he wholesales real estate, and he was only
Yeah,
doing like 40,000 a month in revenue. And then he got access to funding with us. He got like a lot with us, but then he was able to spend every month more on his advertising. He was specifically doing pay per click because that was his
yeah,
background. And now this dude is making 300 to 400,000 a month. He's on track to do like 3 or 4 million this year. The year before he did like 2 or 2.5 million. And he was doing, before he got the credit, he was only doing 40,000 a month. But what I'm trying to get at is the rewards points for people that are spending money, regularly, whether it's advertising or buying properties or buying stuff for your e-commerce store, whatever it is, any type of business. You're earning those rewards points, and now you get free travel. Now you get free cash back,
yeah,
and
yeah.
the travel is nice. I know Ari just went not too long ago. Ari went to Spain, and he flew his whole family there, first class. It was like thousands of dollars worth of airfares. That honestly, I think it was like $30,000 worth or some ridiculous amount. But it was
Nice.
all, yeah, it was all covered because we're spending a ton and we're using business credit as well. So
Yeah.
he's just got so many points racked up, and it just makes so much sense. If you're a business owner, you're spending money on marketing, you're buying things every month for your business. You should, for one, definitely be using business credit because it's going to keep that debt off your personal. So your personal scores will stay high, and they'll even go higher than they were before. Because if you're using personal credit for your business, your personal credit scores are going to fluctuate. Anytime you're carrying a large balance, they'll go down. You pay it off, your scores go back up. So that doesn't happen with business credit, which is a good thing. Plus, the rewards points. That's another thing. A lot of people are using credit, they're using their own cash from their bank account to fund the monthly expenses, and they're not getting
Yeah.
rewards points. And they're missing out on a lot. Like, it's not just like, oh yeah, I could do without the rewards points. It really, it makes a lot of sense to capitalize on those, free cashback, free travel, all that stuff. So,
Oh,
yeah, I'm
yeah.
glad you got a couple of those too.
Yeah, my wife and I are actually taking a anniversary trip to Fernandina Beach this weekend, and we're using reward points to basically cover the cost of the hotel. So, and this is the Ritz Carlton, so you can imagine the hotel costs are crazy, but we're able to use the reward points that we got from the business credit cards to pay for our anniversary. So,
That's awesome. Well, happy anniversary, and hope you have a great time. That's
yeah, me too.
that must have been a lot of rewards points right there. You must have racked
It
up a good
was.
amount for that one. But that's so cool. Like,
Yeah,
you got a completely free trip just from using the things that are available. So,
yeah,
just like that's what we talk about all the time. There's tons of other types of loans out there. There's hard money loans. There's just all different types, revenue based loans, um, payday, like online loans, like on deck, all that stuff. But these guys charge a lot in interest. With a hard money loan, you're paying a lot extra compared to what you'd be paying if you just use business credit. But all those options are great, but this is a great resource. It keeps it off your personal credit. You get rewards points. It's affordable. And I just keep getting more and more clients that are getting on these interviews who, are really, I don't want to say reassuring, but reiterating the fact that this is an extremely good resource. It's not like it's just some BS, it's not some hype. It's literally a good option for anyone who's trying to grow a business, trying to start a business, trying to do more real estate deals. It's an
Yeah,
affordable way to finance things, and you get all those perks, the cash back, the free travel, keep it off your personal credit. A lot of my clients that are doing rental properties, they are like landlords, they got a rental portfolio. They've told me that it used to be a lot more difficult for them to refinance the rental property because they were putting debt on their personal credit. They started keeping everything on the business credit side so it doesn't show up, it doesn't affect their personal score. So when they go to refinance, it's a lot easier because they're looking at the personal credit. So if the personal
yeah,
credit's great, debt's low, the refinancing goes through much more smoothly because they're using business credit. And I can go on and
yeah,
on. There's just so many good things about it.
yeah,
But yeah, let me ask you
yeah.
a question.
The business credit is a smart way to do it because basically you're just kind of able to separate your personal from your business, and
Yeah.
it just makes for an easier path forward when you're trying to look good as you can to a lender, because banks are constantly changing their parameters for lending money, and
Mm-hmm. Yep.
so business credit cards make a lot of sense.
Yeah. And this guy's an architect, folks. So if he says it makes sense, you better believe it. Last time,
I don't know.
last interview
I
I
don't know
did, the
about
guy
that.
was an attorney, and he was also doing real estate. We have
Okay.
clients from all different types, of businesses, industries. We've got, lawyers, we've got, truck drivers, Amazon, entrepreneurs. There's so many different types of people and businesses that use this program. It's a wide variety, and it works really for anyone. And the cool thing is, you don't really have to have a business, to get access to use this credit, because as an individual, you could say that anything that you're doing to create income for yourself is your business, and you could even set up as a sole proprietorship, and that's what we do for most of our clients. We'll just set up a sole
Yeah.
proprietorship, get the tax ID, and now we have everything that we need to ethically be able to apply for business credit.
Right.
And the other cool thing is we don't have to provide 2 years of tax returns because it's all based on your credit, your personal credit. Even though it's business credit, it's based on your credit standing. It's not based on your income. We can use projections. It's all stated income. So no proof of income is required. So it's, not only an affordable resource, but it's easy to get for most people. For us, it's easy
Yeah.
for people that do it on their own. They're not going to get the same type of results and the amount that we get for people. But my point is that it doesn't take a lot to qualify. All it really takes is good credit. You got a 730 score, you got a decent credit profile, you're pretty much going to qualify. There's a couple variables there, like if you got a bunch of brand new accounts or if you got a bunch of negatives. Um, but if you got a couple bank credit cards and your credit's in good standing, you're not maxed out, you should qualify. Just like John did. But if you don't mind, can you give people a little more idea of like how the program went for you from the beginning to now? I know there were some things that we needed to take care of, and then we were able to apply. So we weren't able to just like as soon as you signed up, we didn't just apply right away. And that's something
Right.
that
Yeah.
happens with a lot of clients. We don't just push everybody forward. We want to make sure we got all our ducks in a row, make sure everything looks good, so that we know we're gonna get you a substantial amount. So yeah, you feel free to share about like how that went and how your
Yeah.
credit changed and all that.
Yeah. So when I first came to Fund and Grow, it was actually in 2017, and I had to go through a fair amount of credit um, repair, I
Mm-hmm.
guess.
Mm-hmm.
Mainly because I had so much. I had a lot of bad debt on my history that was dragging me down, and basically, I think it took me about 6 or 7 months to get my credit to a point where I was ready to do a first round of funding. And what we ended up doing, my wife and I, was we ended up using her as kind of a placeholder, meaning that we moved some of the credit that I was carrying over to her name for the sake of freeing me up. and basically making me look better to lenders. So the process essentially was once I had gone through the credit repair. Um, I think my credit score improved from like a 730 to a 780. I think at one point, in fact, I think before I actually did my first round of funding, my credit had bumped up to 815, 820, and I was able to go through my first round of funding. And I think basically Fund and Grow essentially, I think it took Fund and Grow, or maybe over the course of 2 months, to get me business credit cards. And there was a couple credit cards that came in that the banks wanted, a lot of personal identification information. They wouldn't accept some of the identification information that I would provide, so I didn't use those cards. But I think, Mike, it took probably about 3 months from start to finish to get all the credit cards in place. Um, but it was a pretty easy process. I worked with a really good credit specialist to kind of walk me through the process from the very beginning. Told me
Who'd you
what to
work with?
expect. Michael Richard.
Okay, nice. Yeah, Michael's great. He's been with us for a while.
Uh, Yeah, he was really good. He was really helpful. I had a lot of dumb questions at the beginning, just about the process, and he was really good at just kind of breaking it down and kind of explaining everything to me so that I could just feel more reassured that what I was doing was right. Um, but yeah, I thought it was a quick, easy process. Once I got the credit, my credit scores to a point where I could command the kind of debt and credit that I needed in order to use this for real estate.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was an easy process.
Yep. Yeah, that's the thing. We want to make sure we get everybody as lendable as possible before we apply. There's other companies out there, they'll just, keep spitting people through. Doesn't matter. They'll just submit 10 applications at one time and just kind of
Yeah,
see what sticks.
yeah,
Our
and
process
one
is
of
a lot different.
sorry to cut you off. One of the things that I forgot to say
Hmm.
that was really good about Fund and Grow was that Michael had taken a lot of effort to kind of walk me through the steps that I was going to be expecting from the creditors, meaning that he would tell me, "Hey, John, you're probably going to get a call from Cynthia at Bank of America, and she's going to ask you to verify some information. Just make sure that you talk to her. Don't let the phone go to the voicemail, and tell her just the information that she's asking for. You don't need to go into long-winded specifics. Just be clear with this information. He would send me emails letting me know certain credit cards are coming my way, and if I get phone calls to kind of respond to them. So I thought he was pretty good at kind of walking me through the process.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. He's one of our best. He's extremely thorough and organized, and he just really knows a lot about credit, just like all of our account managers. But yeah, Michael's been with the company for probably about 5 years now. So yeah, he's been great, and that's just how it is, though. That's how we operate. We want to make sure we're in contact, we're communicating. We want everything to be clear. We want our client to really like feel like they're on the same page about things and not like left in the dark. And then all of a sudden, they're getting these phone calls. They don't know what to do. So yeah, that's one thing we really pride ourselves on is communication and just kind of acting out of integrity, following up, sticking to what we said we're going to do. And that's how we've gotten to where we're at. We're not the biggest company in the world, but we got about 40 employees now. We're growing. We outgrew the building that we're in, and now we bought a new building. So by doing good business, that's really just the easiest way to grow and have a good reputation. We don't have a bunch of clients going online and complaining. Most of what you'll see online is positive reviews. We've got 4.9 star rating on all the review platforms. We got over 2,000 reviews, and it's because we actually care. Like we want to do good business. We want to make sure we stand behind it and deliver on what we say. And if we can't deliver on what we say, we back that up as well. If there's ever a case where a client doesn't qualify or whatever it is, we handle it in that situation with the best judgment, and we take care of the client. we don't split hairs, and we don't burn bridges. We don't say, "Oh, sorry about your luck. We got your money now." You know what I mean? We just want to do good business, and that is why we've gotten this far. That's why we got so many affiliates. Like you came from one of our affiliate partners, and I think you learned about like you. I mean, I'm sure you were already aware of real estate, but you started following Clayton, and then you really learned about the idea of real estate investing and all that, and that's what really kind of got you into it. You were telling me earlier, and
Yeah.
there's so many guys like that who promote us. They do a YouTube interview with us, a webinar, whatever it is, and it's because of the reputations, because we can prove that we have the track record, that we can deliver, and that's why I got an architect on the line with me right now who's gracious enough to take time out of his day to do this interview and share the process. And I think it's really important that we do that. Like if I have a good experience with a business, I'm going to tell people, I'm going to say, look, they know what they're doing, they got their shit together, and it's just the way it is. But I'm also not the type of person to go and write a negative review either at the same time. But I'll definitely tell people if I had a good experience with some real estate company, a title company, or whatever it is, I will definitely let people know because I want to share that. I want other people to know that there's a good resource that could help them as well. So I appreciate
Oh,
you
yeah.
doing this. I really do.
Yeah, no
Um, so
problem.
uh, yeah. So have you ever used any other types of funding before? Like, did you use any hard money on any deals that you've done? I know you said you've been doing real estate for 3 years, and you got with us about a year or so ago.
No,
Um,
no, we considered using hard money, but just decided that Fund and Grow was, and we kind of discussed the difference between Fund and Grow and hard money, and kind of felt like hard money versus Fund and Grow was a little bit less to control, harder to control. Kind of
exactly.
kind of felt like the Fund and Grow method gave us the opportunity to kind of own the strategy,
Mm,
meaning that it's really up to us. I mean, it's I think I wrote an email to Michael preparation for my second round of funding, and I mentioned to him that we're playing a game with the bank. We're playing a game with time. No matter how you look at it with real estate, you're basically playing some kind of a game in order to achieve your goals, where you're trying to go.
yep.
And when you compare the difference between a fund and grow strategy and hard money lending, I'd pick fund and grow any day because it's a much more predictable path. I know I can
Hmm.
control it. So yeah, the long and the short is that we looked at hard money, never decided to use it because
Yeah, you have full
I like the
control.
procedure.
You don't have to worry about possibly losing the property. Like if you miss a payment with hard
Right.
money, you can lose the whole deal. And like you said, you're basically splitting the profits with the hard money lender, so to speak. You're paying them 10 or
Yeah.
12% interest, and 2 to 3 points usually. So it could cost like $15,000 on $100,000 loan versus business credit. It's zero interest. You got to pay Fund and Grow the service fee for 12-month membership, but when you add it all up, it's half of the cost of a hard money loan. When you add up the
Yeah.
2.5% for the wire fee that you have to send, um, you have to pay plastic to send the wire to the title company. That's 2.5%. So on 100 grand, that's 2,500 bucks plus our fee, which is normally 4,000, but we discount it down. We give out $500 discounts sometimes. So 3,500 plus 2,500 compared to 15,000 for a hard money loan. And like you said, you have to get the deal approved. So if I want to go buy that house over there, I got to make sure that the hard money lender thinks it's a good enough deal and safe enough for
Yeah.
him, which means it has to
Yeah.
be an extremely good deal. You can't
Yeah.
just
That's
get,
that's
you have to pass on deals if you're using a hard
Yeah,
money
and
lender.
that's what I meant by liking to control it. I didn't want to share the process of investigation with another person. I just wanted to be able to go out
Yeah.
and find my property, do what I wanted to do with it. I don't want pressure from a third person in terms of, hey, how long is it going to take for you to finish up your renovation? I need you to hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. I didn't want that kind of pressure. So
Yeah. You
that
don't want
was
a
that was one of the
boss.
factors.
You you
No,
want
not
you
at
don't want to
all.
hear from anybody. I get that.
No, no.
Totally get that. um, so did we set up? Did you already have an entity established, or did we set one up for you in the program?
Now, you guys set up a sole proprietorship for me.
Nice.
Um,
Are
yeah,
you holding
and that,
properties or are you flipping?
we're holding right now.
Are you holding
The
them in an
next one,
LLC?
yeah, an
Yeah.
LLC.
Okay, but we didn't set that LLC up for you.
No, that was set up before I came to Fund and Grow.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, because we do that as well. Sometimes we'll just do
we,
the sole proprietorship, but we also do offer included in our service that will set up an LLC for your day-to-day operations, for cash flowing your business, or for holding a rental property or two or whatever. But as far as just getting the business credit, sole proprietorship's the quickest and easiest way to go about it because there's less involved that way. But if a
yeah,
client has a business and they've got a business established, they come to us with that, we'll apply with that for sure. But for those people that are like startups or they've only done a few flips and they haven't set up an entity yet, quickest and easiest way is to just set up a sole proprietorship. You get your tax ID, you apply that way, and when you do apply, there's usually less on the back end that you would have to deal with when you go that route versus having to provide a bunch of different documentation and proof of the LLC and all that stuff being yours. Much easier going the sole proprietorship route. So, what about the inquiries? Did we help you remove those? Did you pay Kadem to do it, or how'd that go for you?
um, the inquiries, I think, weren't that big of a deal for me. I don't really recall the inquiries being an issue.
Yeah, they're not
I think
really.
during the process of the credit repair, I think it was really just time, just waiting for the inquiries to fall off.
Yeah, well, once we do your first round of funding, we typically would go through inquiry removal to remove the inquiries that we just put on by
Yeah,
applying
yeah,
for the business credit that we got you. But the thing is pretty much what you just said. They don't really matter. For one, they're like 2 points each an inquiry, and for two, once 4 months goes by, they don't hold the same weight. They
right.
don't affect your credit. But if you got like a bunch of brand new inquiries from like 2 weeks ago, and then you go and apply for business credit, that's going to hinder you. But if you've got inquiries that are 4 6 months old, they're not really going to hinder you. You don't have to worry about removing those. And what's cool is we do each round of funding typically 6 months apart. So we'll do your first round today, your second round 6 months later, and then the last round will be on the 12th month of the membership, usually right around there. So, we usually get about 80% of those inquiries removed. But even if we don't, again, they're not really, it's not a big deal. Like some people are like, well, aren't they going to look at my credit in order for me to get business credit? Isn't that going to affect my personal credit? And and the answer is very minimally because all that's going to happen is you're going to get a few inquiries on your credit report, but the business credit won't show up on your personal credit report. So now the debt that you're going to be putting into your business is going to be on the business credit profile. So really, your personal credit score is going to go up, even though the
Yeah,
inquiries might give it a slight hit at first. In the long run, you're doing the best thing because now you're keeping the debt separate. So your personal scores, and I've had so many clients tell me they started with a 730 or whatever. Now I got 800s. I got $100,000 in business credit. I'm earning free rewards, cash back. It makes a lot of sense. So yeah, I mean,
yeah. When I first started getting credit cards, one of the first things I did was go to Credit Karma. I'm using Credit Karma just to keep track of my credit score, and none of the cards showed up on my personal credit history. So that was kind of evidence to me that you know, it was a good thing.
oh, so you're confirming so you went on and checked and you confirmed that the business credit cards do not show up. Like, okay.
Correct.
Yeah.
That
Cool.
was that was one of the things I was nervous about was whether or not the inquiries were going to ding my credit, and I just had no way of knowing until I went on to one of these service accounts to check my credit score, and none of the cards that I had gotten showed up there. So
Yeah,
it's a,
exactly.
it's,
Just the
it's a good thing.
inquiries. That's what's cool about
Yeah,
it. If you use a tax
yeah,
ID, you literally will keep the credit. There's only one bank that offers a business credit card. It's Capital One, and they're the only bank that calls it a business credit card, but it still shows up on your personal credit report. But all the other banks, Bank of America, Chase, all the other banks do not report. And we always tell people that. Capital One's still a decent card. It's something that we would still say, hey, even though this one does show up on your personal report, it's still a business card technically, so you have better perks with it, and it's zero interest, so it's worth getting for one because it's going to strengthen your personal by having that other card there. It's just strengthening it. It's better to have
Right.
multiple credit cards on your personal credit profile than it is to just have like one. If you just have one personal credit card, it's not really enough for the banks to go off of. They want to see that you're handling multiple relationships, major bank credit cards, and once you have that, you're able to qualify for more business credit. So in some
Yeah.
cases, people that start with us and they've only got one personal credit card, we'll tell them, look, it's worth getting the Capital One card because it's going to add strength to your personal credit profile, but it's also going to bring you the business credit perks and it's going to bring you more funding. So in some cases, we do have to get a little personal credit to strengthen people's personal credit profile, and that's part of the process. Some people are like, why do you keep talking about personal credit? I thought it was business credit, and it's like that's exactly right, but that's the kicker. The qualifier is
Yeah.
personal credit. Period,
Yeah.
and sometimes
In
that's hard
fact,
to swallow.
you're making me recall one of the when I was doing my credit repair. One of the credit cards I got, the intent of that credit card was just to buy gas to show that I was actively using the credit card and using it on something I was going to be paying off every single month.
Uh huh.
So yeah, to your point, that was another strategy that was pushed my way that I think worked out really well.
Nice. Awesome. Well, I gotta say, I love hearing the feedback. I love connecting with our clients and doing these interviews. It's great. It's great to hear the success of our clients, and you know, it's just good to I don't know. It's good to go over the process with our clients. I really do enjoy doing these interviews, but I don't really have any other things to go over. If you have anything that you wanted to add before we wrapped up to any like investors out there who might be thinking about it, feel free. But I really do appreciate your time. Thank you for doing this with us.
Yeah, I think for anybody that's thinking about using it, it's probably the easiest process to accessing large sums of money quickly. I think the best thing about it for me was it was 0% interest for in some cases 12 months, which meant that I had plenty of time to basically do a renovation on a property, and then wait for the bank to allow the seasoning process of the renovation to pass, and then still be able to go back and refinance out of the property to do a cash out refinance to pay off those credit cards. And so for me, uh, and for anybody else out there that's considering it, it's kind of a no-brainer. It's an easy process, and I think Fund&Grow does a really good job of walking you through it and explaining all the steps. So it makes it easy, and I'm looking forward to my next round of funding in a month.
How much did you end up getting with us?
65 grand.
Was that total between you and your wife, or was that just for you?
That was just for me.
Okay,
That
nice,
was that was it was across 5 cards, I think.
nice. Do you remember what it was total that you got? Like 100?
No, no, 65 grand was the total, but it was across 5 cards. So like 15, 20, 25,
Yeah, but
10.
we also applied for your partner as well.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah.
we got like a total of 100. It looks like,
Yeah,
right?
she got some too. Yeah, yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
was
we counted.
45 and 66 is
Yeah,
what we got. So, and that's another thing. We will let people bring in a partner, a spouse, and we'll apply for double the amount of funding, and it's all under the same membership fee. You don't have to pay twice. So that's a cool perk that we offer to people. If they have that option to bring someone in, they can get more funding that way. And then I like what you were saying about the refinancing. That's what we do. We've had 1,500 clients come from Clayton, who is all about rental properties and building a rental portfolio. A lot of his clients have come to us to get funding, and then he's sold them properties. And my point is that getting access to the credit allows you to be a cash buyer, which allows you to
yeah,
negotiate the best possible deal. And then once you've got that property tenanted and it's cash flowing, it's rehabbed, it appraises now. Now you can refinance it, and you can pay off the cards with the cash out refinance and then repeat the process. Or you can take the
Mhm.
cash out refinance and buy your next property and pay off the cards down the road once the zero interest expires. So that's a great, people have a hard time wrapping their head around that. Like, how does this work? What do I do after do I just keep paying off the credit cards? I'm not gonna have the money to do that. How am I gonna do that? It's like, no, use the credit temporarily, buy it as a cash buyer, get it fixed up, get a tenant in there, and now you can get like a 75% cash out refinance done. And now you can pay off the cards and you can go and add another property to your portfolio and then refinance it into a long-term investment mortgage, and you can have multiple investment mortgages for those rental properties. So it's a great way to do it. If you don't have the cash in your bank account to wire it that way, you can get the credit, wire it from the credit. Now you're a cash buyer. I interviewed a guy, he hadn't bought a property once, never bought an investment property. He started with us. He got like 200,000. He bought 6 properties, his first 6 investment properties, and he funded them all with the credit that we got him. So I just see so many people getting into real estate and just kind of leveling up their lives basically. So it's a game changer for sure. It's a no brainer. If anyone that's watching this enjoyed the video, feel free to subscribe, like the video, and there should be a link in the description you can go to, and you can get in contact with someone at our office, and we'll go over the whole process with you and see if it's a good fit for you, like it was for John. But John, thank you so much again for taking time. Really appreciate it. I enjoyed chatting with you, and hopefully you guys liked it as well. Don't forget, like, subscribe, and we'll see you on the next video.
Sounds good. Thanks.
Thanks, John.